We have some late breaking news. Ripple partner Thunes announces new collaboration and partnerships to update the world's financial system to bring them onto the XRP ledger and Ripple's infrastructure. Let's go through why these updates are so important, who Thunes is actually connected to, and how many countries. 130 countries, 90 collection countries, 320 payment methods in 80 different currencies. This is what happens when you put Ripple's technology behind any business in the payments infrastructure. Let's go ahead and get into the updates. I'm also going to show you a ton of other information about Thunes and why this is so important. Let's break this down. Wrath Economy says, finally, direct confirmation. Ripple and Thunes are combining Thunes network with Ripple's blockchain-powered payment solutions to allow Ripple's enterprise customers to more easily withdraw funds in new currencies and countries. This has always been hard to confirm in print until now. He also says, quotes indicating blockchain assets by supporting real-time settlement and deep local integrations. We are enabling digital asset companies to deliver seamless, compliant, and accessible cross-border payments at scale. This is such a big deal. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article. It is dated September 2nd. A money movement platform, Thunes, has expanded its partnership with digital asset infrastructure company Ripple. This latest collaboration, announced on Tuesday, September 2nd, combines Thunes network with Ripple's blockchain-powered payment solution to allow Ripple's enterprise customers to more easily withdraw funds in new currencies. Members across both the traditional finance space and digital asset ecosystem connect with Thunes. We are in the prime position to bridge the two worlds and drive the future of digital assets. Our alliance with Ripple underscores this, says Chloe, Thunes president and chief operating officer, said in a news release. By supporting real-time settlement and deep local integrations, we are enabling digital asset companies to deliver seamless, compliant, and accessible cross-border payments at scale. According to the release, Thunes ensures real-time payments in local currencies via direct global network, helping facilitate the last mile delivery in places with limited banking infrastructure. So this is Ripple and Thunes going into places where it's hard to get money in and out of those places. And people pay an arm and a leg to do that, some as high as 10 or 20%. Imagine sending $100 and 10 of that dollars or 20 is gone because of these fees. Using Thunes and Ripple, you can send that same amount of money and pay pennies on the dollar. Really, they're going to probably charge you a few bucks, but you're not going to be paying the 10 or 20%. Ripple payouts and release added has near global coverage with more than 90 payout markets representing more than 90% of the foreign exchange market. Remember, the foreign exchange market is $7.5 trillion a day. On average, they do about 7.5 million payments at about $1 million per payment. If you use XRP and Ripple's technology to basically replace the current infrastructure, hundreds of billions of dollars could be saved in the next decade. By combining Thunes' extensive and trusted direct global network, the Ripple's digital asset infrastructure, we are enhancing payment speed, accessibility, and compliance across regions, says Fiona Murray, managing director of Ripple in the Asia Pacific region. This partnership not only facilitates seamless, low-cost transactions, but also supports the growing demand for innovative blockchain-powered financial solutions globally. Let's go. Here's some additional context information. I'm going to include this research down below. I'm not going to read it all to you because a lot of this is just kind of repeating myself, but check us out. $70 billion in volume so far. It's pretty insane. I did want to show you Thunes' growth year over year because I thought this was an interesting piece to add to this research. Thunes' annual growth rate revenue surpassed $100 million by global network expansion and growing demand for real-time cross-border. That's 2023. In 2024, the company sustained a high growth trajectory, renamed to track to reach EBITDA. I don't know if that's a word, or break even, and continue deep investments in network, reaching over 130 countries and connecting 7 billion. This was 7 billion wallets, right? That is connecting the old system, legacy system, to these new rails. Employee count has also rose 22%. So they are growing, they are hiring, they are building. Run rate revenue further increased to $150 million, up 50% year over year. They are growing 50% year over year. Where do you think Thunes is going to be in a year from now or 2 years from now? It is going to get pretty insane. Here are some additional information. Members across both traditional finance space and the digital assets ecosystem connect with Thunes. We are in a prime position to bridge these two worlds and drive the financial digital assets. And our alliance with Ripple underscores this by supporting real-time settlement and deep local integrations. We are now enabling digital asset companies to deliver seamless, compliant, and accessible cross-border payments at scale. And then this is the Fiona Murray. By combining Thunes' extensive and trusted direct global network with Ripple's digital asset infrastructure, we are enhancing payment speed, accessibility, and compliance across regions. Also, here is the how this works. CEO of Thunes posted this on LinkedIn. They have the application layer. They have the connection layer, bridge the last mile payment infrastructure requiring networks of banks, wallets, and other hyper localized receiving endpoints. And then the network layer, you have Ripple. And of course, you have Circle is also connected into this. You also have some extensive partnerships here. More Thunes Ripple connections. Visa expands partnership worldwide. Swift uses crypto. Visa partner with Thunes, who uses XRP, 250 trillion by 2030. So here is that connection as well. And then here is also something that was posted by High Vibe Assets. More Ripple and XRP Thunes connections. And so this is a little fuzzy. I do apologize. Ripple, MENA, 40 countries, and just a ton of partnerships. You have Africa here, 30 countries, APAC, 20 countries, Europe and MENA, 40 countries, and then Americas, you have 10 countries. So connecting the entire world, pretty much the biggest markets into this. I'd imagine Thunes is only going to expand and get bigger. Here is Brad Garlinghouse discussing his vision and where he sees Ripple and XRP over the next few years. Yes, this is an older clip, but it speaks highly about what we're talking about here. And I have a few other things I want to point out after this.
Markets like Japan, I think, are still unlocking. The market opportunity here is massive. You have trillions of dollars flowing cross-border globally. It's still largely dominated by the SWIFT network, if you will. And that's architecture, that's a technology architecture that was developed 50 years ago. There's an opportunity to modernize. That takes time, particularly when you have a government in the U.S. kind of combating that innovation. But that's changing now. The Trump effect, if you will, is profound. You're seeing that in asset prices, but you're also going to see that in the adoption of these technologies.
Yeah, and I think, so when you're looking at the growth story then of Ripple, does it still come from overseas, or are you expecting a change in terms of domestic interest in Ripple?
Well, we're definitely already seeing a change in the domestic interest. These 6 weeks after.
Change in the domestic interest. When they're speaking about domestic, they're talking about inside of the United States. I just want to give you that context. When I first listened to this clip, I don't think I registered this exact change, but I just wanted to point that out because maybe it's something that you missed, because I missed it.
President Trump was elected, we signed more deals in the United States than we had in the previous 6 months. So these are very innovative technologies. I think they're going to play out over 10, even 20 years in terms of how they integrate and rewire the financial infrastructure of the United States. That's across payments. That's across even the settlement of maybe real estate transactions, securities transactions. So I think we're going to see this play out over a long arc. But the United States is finally unlocked, and I think people are underestimating how big that change is, and you'll see that continue to play out this year.
People are underestimating how big that change will be, and I think Brad said it best right there. Mr. Mann posted this: the Finastra, Ripple, and Thunes collaboration find its way to 125 countries. Thunes is actually connected to Finastra. Thunes and global payments infrastructure provider with reach into over 125 countries and 3 billion banked and unbanked users, has officially teamed with Ripple. This adds direct RippleNet corridors into Africa, Southeast Asia, Latin America, connecting to mobile wallets. So the biggest hurdle here has been, in some of these countries, people don't have bank accounts. They have mobile money wallets. And the issue with a lot of this stuff is, like, if you, in the United States, you would know this, right? If you have PayPal and somebody has Venmo or a different kind of Cash App and you're trying to send them cash, and the apps don't talk to each other, right? They don't interconnect in the background. So unless they have like a Venmo account or a PayPal account, you're not gonna be able to send that money, right? And so this interconnects all of those mobile carrier services, these mobile wallets all together. So anybody using any network here that's connected into Thunes can send money. So it doesn't have to, do you have this app? Do you have, you don't have to have that conversation. You just say, what's your phone number? Let me send you this money, and boom, you got it. You see here, connecting mobile wallets, banks, and alternative payment methods. It expands Ripple's on-demand liquidity into markets that Swift struggles to serve, right? So they're going after a market that Swift has failed, right? Swift has been around for 50 plus years, and they are underserving this market, which means they have no solutions. In 50 years, you don't have any solutions for this. That's saying that they don't care to solve this problem. Ripple went in with Thunes and solved this problem. And I think Swift is a little worried. I've been seeing, high-level people at Swift starting to attack Ripple and XRP on X. You wouldn't do that unless you are worried about it, right? Thank you. Ripple, Finastra, and Thunes bring scalable cross-border payment rails that will rival and bypass Swift. Let's go get it. Let's go get after them, man. United Nations recognizes Ripple and Thunes as a global payment hubs documented. So here is the document, United Nations Capital Development Fund. And so I posted this, a bunch of information and context here. I'm not going to read all of this to you, but here is, it does mention, it says from experience from experience of different countries, especially those where FSPs have integrated with global payment networks and international hubs such as Ripple, MFS Africa, Thunes, and TerraPay. Those are all Ripple partners, right? All of those are Ripple partners. And then you look, the BIS understands how important Ripple is to the global financial system.
Like Switzerland and China all testing out the digital currencies. How are you gearing up for the disruption of money with central bank digital currencies? How will it change the way you and other banks operate in future?
Probably fundamentally. While we're not formally involved, no foreign banks are involved in the Chinese ECNY. I think we're as close to that as we can be to understand how that digital currency can be used for cross-border trade. Going back 5 years, we had digital currency underpinned trade finance and money settlement systems, and using it as a medium of exchange, using things like Ripple's XRP, for example, as a medium to affect real-time cross-border payments.
When you have leaders, at the BIS talking about mentioning Ripple by name, they're not mentioning Circle, they're not mentioning Stellar, they're mentioning Ripple. All right. And then you do look towards the United States right now. We understand that the world is welcoming all of this technology. The United States is also doing everything it can to better promote and help blockchain infrastructure companies develop in America because the US wants American technology to be used globally. Let me go ahead and play this for you. Some information on when the Clarity Act is coming. Clarity Act is regulation here in the United States.
We passed the Clarity Act in the House before we left for August. We showed overwhelming bipartisan support. Why? Because we know we need the United States to be the leader in Web3 technology, and that means we need a regulatory framework for digital assets here in the United States. This is possibly the most important piece of legislation that the Senate's going to pass in a bipartisan manner later this year. I'd love to see the Senate bring up the Clarity Act again, as passed by the House with overwhelming support. And if they do that, I think what we have an opportunity to do is cement the U.S. as the global leader in the digital assets space. This is incredibly important at a period of time where the United States dominated Web 2. It led to big tech. I don't love all aspects of big tech, but at least they're domiciled in the United States of America. Web 3 is an opportunity to democratize the internet and make sure that that innovation and development is occurring in the United States, providing appropriate consumer protections. And if the Senate acts on the Clarity Act as passed by the House, we have an opportunity to truly unleash the golden age of digital assets here in the United States and maintain the United States as the world leader in the digital assets, but also importantly in the broader tech space as we see this evolution from Web 2 into Web 3.
Listen, the United States needs crypto more than crypto needs the United States. And what I mean by that is the United States payment infrastructure is terrible. We were vital to the expansion of the internet, and you look at Silicon Valley and some other states that have just these incredible tech boom. Think about the jobs and the impact, the billions of dollars in tax revenue that brings in. Do you want to just not be there for this next evolution of financial technology? Do we want to be using China's infrastructure or Russia's? No, we want to be able to be a leader in the space, and what they're doing right now here, right? Without the Republicans stepping up and getting this over the line, where would we be with regulation here in the United States? The US dollar, 99% of stablecoins are backed by the US dollar. What would the US dollar be doing right now without crypto? They need dollars to swap into other things. This is what I'm saying. The United States needs crypto more than crypto needs the United States. They are starting to realize that. You're starting to get bipartisan support, and this will pass this year. This is so important to the financial future of the United States. It is not funny. This is like national security importance. This is going to get done, and this is going to send us to just a different level, right? You're having institutions come in where we got trillions of dollars waiting to come into the crypto space for the first time in history. We have regulation in a large part of the world. Once the US passes regulation, other countries that maybe were waiting on the US to pass regulation, they will follow suit. A lot of them will copy the US's regulation, or maybe Europe's or Japan's or something like that. But the world over the next 5 years will all be using blockchain. The next 500 million people are about to enter the space. Are you ready for that? Get ready. I'll see you next time.
I have just built a course
for beginners, intermediaries, and experts of XRP to better understand the XRP ledger and Ripple, the company. If you're interested in getting that course absolutely free, there's a link down in the description. Please let me know what you think after you've taken the course. Aloha.